Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Doppler'S Gear Garage. Hope you're having a great day. Raising them up to toast you, wherever you are, whatever it is that you might be drinking. And happy Saturday to you. Always excited to be able to hang out on a Saturday morning. Holy cow. So first of all, I am always looking for your questions. I've got a couple here queued up already from my dear friend Chris Alexander. First off, I want to talk about what the heck I've been doing this week. Somewhere in the background there, you can just see the very top of a little tweed amplifier. And some of y'all might have seen a post that I put up about this pair of high-powered twins that I'm working on getting into the mix here, but have been busy getting the room ready to start shooting some, I don't know whether they're going to be rig constructions around entire rigs or just around individual pieces of gear. I'm still kind of figuring that out. I have a bad habit of going, it's going to be a weekly rig versus kind of like it's going to be this particular, every week there's going to be an amp. Some weeks it may not be an amp, so I don't quite know what it's going to be other than here we are at Doppler'S Gear Garage. But that'll be kind of something that I'll be doing on YouTube and kind of posting that content there. In any case, great to see everybody. Where are my chat overlays? Come on, give me my chat window. There we go. And there we go. Come on, give me my chat. And here we go. So what I would love to know is kind of what are the things that you've been working on? I'm always interested in hearing what people are kind of up to, what's challenging them, what's giving them a hard time, what's working well. Hello, Melissa Doppler. Thamus, is it pronounced Tamus or Thamus? I'll figure it out. Good morning to you regardless. Dr. Phil, or I should say Philip Esquire. Great to see you. Good morning. Kevin Wayne Carr, what's happening? All right. So first of all, a couple of new things showed up here that are relevant to my little gear quest. And this is a special order that I made with my dear friends at Mesa Boogie. And this is one of their custom, well, it's not custom, but they kind of made it up for me. It's a back panel speaker plate that basically has the ability to run mono or dual, kind of stereo at 4 ohms and 8 ohms on the mono, and then kind of have an out. And this is for the halfback cabinets that I've been using, and some of them are older and precede that type of a jack plate. And so the rig that I've got going back there that I'll be doing a video on behind me, behind the Boogie stuff right there, is a pair of high-powered twins into a Mesa Boogie halfback 412 cabinet with one of those jacks. And I'm running the two different high-powered twins out into that cabinet, which is sequestered. You can barely see it right there. That's my big ISO booth. So that cabinet's in there at bone-crushing volume, but both amps are running into one side of it. So I've been kind of getting that all wired up, and there's a camera that's in there, so we'll be able to talk about that more. In any case, Saxon Weiss, hey, what's going on, my man? Great to see you. All right, hang on a second. First of all, hello. Great to see you and meet you at Alvis Showroom. So, Saxon, I hope you don't mind. First of all, David Ritchie, hello. Saxon, are you 12? So Saxon was one of the people that came and saw the Neely Ross show. And I thought, this is a very interesting, very poised, very mature, but not like overly mature for his age, just really nice kid. I'm like, well, who are you? Well, I'm Saxon Weiss. Not only that, hold on a second. I've been doing some rearranging here in my studio here, but I've got Saxon's card here on my desk. So it is actually not going to make itself visible in the midst of the last phase of the studio clean. But Saxon has a card. I'm like, all right, pardon the expression, Saxon, this kid, he's 11. Sorry, my bad. I didn't want to round down. That's a major faux pas. He's 11. So the thing is after I met him, I thought, I bet there's some video of this kid on YouTube. And I think probably for his age, he's really good. For any age, he's really good. Just look up Saxon Weiss. Not now, not in the middle of the stream, but look him up. There's some video of him playing at Norman's Rare Guitars that you're just like. And Saxon, I say this with all due respect. I'm not trying to blow up your ego because you seem really well too composed for that to happen. I've never seen a kid his age, a young adult his age, play with the musical maturity and the hand position. I'm just like, okay, and I get it. Hey, what's going on, Eric? There are some folks like myself that had to work very, very hard for the guitar thing to happen. And there are some young adults that just kind of pick up the guitar and it just pours out of them. You can just see it in the hands. Just, as I was watching his right hand, it's super accurate and super even. His left hand position is phenomenal. And he's got a great sound. He just has great command. And he was in as much of command of the guitar in these videos as he was when I met him. He was just so together, which for guitar players, I remember when I was at that age, I was just I don't know, just kind of crazy like I am now, just a little bit all over the wall. But and in any case, it was really neat to see a young player that has it so together. So in any case, it's my pleasure to introduce you to Saxon Weiss. Just what an amazing, amazing young musician. Saxon, with my greatest pleasure and honor, dude. I was really, really pleased that you were such a nice guy. And I was like, who is this guy? You know how it is. I mean, here's the thing. The musician thing is either in you or it's not. When you meet another musician, you kind of go, oh, there's a vibe here. So, Saxon, I am so excited to watch you journey on in whatever it is that you're going to do. I will be watching and listening. And who knows, maybe we're going to get a chance to do some playing together. So I would love that. Saxon, can you tell me, do you have a band that's playing out in the LA area? Saxon lives in SoCal. He has a 310 area code, and we met at the gig at Alvis Showroom in San Pedro. So my guess is, well, thank you. When I pull in the chat these days, because I'm 16 by 9 here, or 9 by 16 rather, it gets hidden by this lower window here. He was like, thanks, Doug. It was so fun watching you. Well, that was, it was certainly a fun night. So thank you for that. Nandini, good morning. So I want to talk about a couple of things. And Saxon, I'm really glad you're here today because, first of all, feel free to jump in on the chat because my guess is you've done some studying. And Griffin, hello, my dear friend. Great to see you. Paul Richard, hello, hello, hello. So one of the things that I've really been trying to understand is how I can best equip other musicians to express themselves on the guitar. Saxon, I play with different friends and on my own, trying to get a band together. Awesome. Ben Tom, what's happening? So I want to give a little bit of an overview. Yes, old school cassette tapes. Awesome, awesome, awesome. That's right. So the funny thing is last night, I'm going to take a quick sidetrack on Phil's comment there. I came across some old video of me playing in about 1994. And the scary part is basically all I do is sit in this chair and I practice and I play pretty much all day long. And then I also attend to social media. But the interesting thing was I had it in my head, I've worked out all these new things and I watched this thing of me playing in 1994 and I'm like, man, I'm doing a lot of the things that I'm doing now then. It was but some new ideas and some more maturity. But it was very interesting to be informed by your former self. Saxon, I cannot encourage you enough. Record as much of yourself as humanly possible. So in the midst of all of this, I'm trying to, again, help other guitar players have a better understanding about, kind of how you kind of see past the patterns of scales and begin to kind of understand what's going on. So at the simplest part of this, if we were to take the G major scale, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G, and skip if we think of that as, again, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, and think of that as 1, hold to 2, hold to 3, half to 4, hold to 5, hold to 6, hold to 7, half to 1, and we get rid of the 2, and we just leave the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, get rid of the 6, 7, 1. So that's 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, and 1. And we flat the 3 and we flat the 7. We end up with 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, 1, which in terms of note names would be G, B flat, C, D, F, G, which if we played it as G, B flat, C, D, F, G, gives us the G minor pentatonic. Now, what is it about the minor pentatonic that makes the minor pentatonic minor? Well, if you look at that shape, and I kind of stop at each of the notes of this G minor bar chord, and I kind of go, you see that 1, 5, 1, flat 3, 5, 1 is a 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, 1, 1, flat 3, 5, 1, 1, 5, 1, flat 3, 5, 1. They're hanging out in the midst of that. So if we're just hanging out at that tonic chord, that 1, flat 3, 5, those notes are the ones that are the best ones to resolve to. So the 4 and the flat 7 and the flat 5 are the ones that you can use to create tension and resolution. So once you actually know what those notes are, as in G, B flat, C, D, F, and G, and that G, B flat, and D are the ones you're wanting to target, then all of a sudden the whole neck unlocks itself. As I've been working on it, Wesley, what's going on, my man? Weston Lawless. I always have different reactions. Captain Scarlet, hello. I've also been revisiting some of the songs from previous albums. So Captain Scarlet made a message about like father, like son on social, and I recently kind of have been revisiting which songs we're going to be bringing in the set for this trio of shows that I'll be announcing in just a moment. So getting back to this minor pentatonic thing, people get stuck in the minor pentatonic box. So for one, if you can take the flat 7, 1, flat 3, and 4, no matter what key you're in, so if you're in, then this is the thing, there's no shame in or and hanging out in the box. But when you want to unlock the entire neck, being able to see that F, G, B flat, and C, so you can find an F anywhere, like, I don't know, and all of a sudden you're able to go just unlock that. And here's the thing is like I've been trying to figure out how I can explain to people, Phil, I'm going to get to you in just a second, why knowing the notes matters. And my favorite analogy is like going to a car mechanic that doesn't know the parts underneath the hood. Not necessarily the guy you want to have, quote unquote, operating. You know, you're going to be operating that vehicle behind the wheel. Do you really want somebody working on who doesn't know what they're doing under the hood? So when we go to operate the guitar, as guitar mechanics, if you will, the more we understand what's actually happening, the better off we're going to be able to navigate this thing. And the dichotomy is there is a lot to be said about just playing the shapes, right? And traditionally, when I sit down with something, as I'm thinking about I'm not thinking about, oh, okay, all right, I'm in F sharp minor pentatonic, F sharp, A, B, C sharp, D, E, and F sharp. But if I do begin to think about how do I not just kind of get stuck playing in the same box, all right, well, I take, again, kind of the same concept I did at G minor pentatonic. And I let the knowledge of the note names and the knowledge of the shapes. Again, this is a 1. We talked about 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, 1, G, B, flat, C, D, F, G, G, B, flat, C, D, F, G, 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, 1, flat 3, 4. So here's my flat 7, 1, flat 3, 4 in the middle of. So if I'm playing an F sharp, there's my F sharp, E, F sharp, A, and B. So now I'm aiming for F sharp. Here's the other thing is most of us, until we decide to conquer the notes, oh, if it's the third and second string, like, oh, let me not play there, right? But being able to kind of go, man, that's the register that I want to play in. That is to say, I can play this at, because I spend so much time playing with my right hand, I mean, with my fingers on my right hand. The difference between that note. So again, we're looking for E. That one's got a little extra spank on the top, right? But a little less body. And that, for me, is kind of when I'm looking for that. And the band is in the process of... working up that sting song shape in my heart because it's flippin' awesome. Major sixth. One of my favorite intervals inside that song. It's just genius what he's playing there. Any case, or what he's singing, and that we're in the process of figuring out how we're going to put this thing to life. All right, first of all, Mike, what's going on? Great to stand. Hello, as always. Okay, let me just take a quick moment since we mentioned the gig front. Let me just take a quick second. We're going to be the Doug Doppler Trio. That is myself, the incredible Angeline Saris, and Tasha Jones on drums, and this band, holy cow, they are so good. So we're going to be in Nashville at the Underdog on Friday, July 21st, along with Lance Lopez, who, if you've not heard Lance, prepare to be spanked on the behind. Holy cow. So at the end of the night, I'm going to open, then it's going to be Larry Mitchell, and then it's going to be Lance. There will be a bit of jamming going on, and I hope I don't get my posterior too whooped. Then we're going to be in Florence at Shoals Axe Fest. Oh, the guitar. Hello. Hold on. There we go. Oh, sorry. I'm seeing my under window. Didn't know I had an under window, did you? All right. So that's Shoals Axe Fest. That is going to be on Saturday, July 22nd. We're going to be joined by our dear friend Jamie Lamb, great guitar player. Again, Larry Mitchell will be headlining in the afternoon. We're going to be doing a fractal audio workshop. My first fractal audio workshop. I am besides myself. I cannot wait. Montgomery, Alabama, Warehouse 231. Another fractal audio workshop and show. I've got information about these up on my website at dougdoppler.info, but don't go there now. In any case, I'm back. Hey, okay, so first of all, hello. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anything grossly pertinent, other than hello, hello, hello. Nandini, you're awesome. Excellent. Craig's comment, and again, when it's a longer comment, I can't actually pull it in because it just turns tiny to about 1 point font, and the way I've got these windows set up, my overlays are not overlaying, they're underlaying. Perfect. I'm always looking for better sounding notes in different positions and boxes. The tone for me changes depending on where it is played on the guitar. And the tensions of the string, hello, the diameter of the string, great insight again, Doug. Craig, with great pleasure. And this is kind of, the whole thing is what is, and by the way, there's a video that I saw of John Mayer talking about taking traditional blues licks and moving them around the neck and playing them in different locations. Where can I get a cool orange leather jacket like Doug? I guess Phil was over on the website. All right, so you're going to ask, are we really going to have a fashion moment? Sure. So I kind of went to get my haircut a few months back, and I made the mistake of walking into a John Varvatos store, and I lost my mind. So I'm not like a fashion freak, but I did lose my mind, and we did lose a chunk of change on a couple of trips there. Sonia, hello. If you take a look right, hold on. Oh, wait, it's in the lower, there we go. Look at what that is right there, Sonia. See that little reflection? That is the beginnings. Hang on, let's see if I can do this without spilling anything. No promises. Let's see what we can do here. I am in the process of putting together, and I'm not sure I'm going to keep one, but I'm in the process of throwing it together. Hey, pedal board, hello. So look at that. That's actual progress there. And Sonia, that thing from outer space that looks like a spaceship that you can see right over there is a multi-axis controller that enables you, for me, going to enable me to control the delays and the reverbs and be able to blend them in today's. Yes, thank you very much, Sonia. And also, hang on, just for you, there's number one. Who can go to Los Angeles and not find something on Craigslist? So when we did the Neely gig, I've been keeping an eye out for a second one of those cabinets. And I'm going to use those most likely for a pair of FR cabs. So when I'm not able to take the boogie that's hiding over there, which is my A amp, then I'm gonna try just having those and the power amp, or maybe that's the Power Stage 700 that's hiding over there. The rig, there we go. That's the Power Stage 700 there, and the JP2C, and then the Axif X3. But when I want to take something that's a little bit smaller, the FM9 is there, and maybe something more portable so I can fly with that. So. But when I can't fly, or when I'm not flying somewhere, those two 212 cabinets, I'm going to put the Celestion Full Range Live Response speakers in those, and that way it's easy to move. The larger boogie halfback cabinets weigh about 100 pounds each, and it's just not feasible to take them to the gig with my present gotta load and play type of vibe. Eric Martin Bureau, hello. Tony Lucchese, I have some questions from you from last week that I'm going to be getting to as well. Jamie Lamb, 4 more songs recorded this week. Excellent. Way faster than I am. Saxon asked, what gauge strings do I use? Great question. Saxon, tell me first of all, everybody, tell me what gauge strings you use and what brand you use, and do you use different gauges of strings on different instruments? I have a gear problem. I have more gear than space. That is not an invitation to come relieve me of something. Let me just be clear. But I'm actually probably going to do a couple of very strange things where a couple of things I just don't use, and they're not necessarily stuff that I'm going to use, that I'm just going to say, if you pay the shipping, they're yours. That way I'm not losing money in the process. I've got a bunch of cables I'm never going to use again. I've got a bunch of strings I'm never going to use again. So Saxon, to answer your question, I, in my gig box, should have strings. So this is one of the things about all of this, is that in terms of, one of the videos that I'm getting ready to make is on kind of like, how do you get ready for your gig? You don't bring foam padding. This is overflow. but you just have stuff that you bring that you take with you. Now this box, I actually managed to take my strings out of here, so they're elsewhere, but they should be in the overflow studio go-to box over here, and if they're not in here, I will be shocked. They've been moved upstairs. Okay. The point being is there should be, and it's actually a giant fail, I can promise you that they are in the cubby of this guitar case, but in that box there should be extra, and there were for the Neely gig, extra sets of strings that I have. So I am using a custom wound set from the good folks at Jim Dunlop. I have known them for years. The guy that I work with is my artist relations guy. I've known since 1980. So his name is Brian Kehoe. He's one of my dearest friends. I adore him. So I've used GHS and had a great experience there. I really like the progressives. I have used D'Addario. I really like just the regular XLs. But the challenge that I had and have is that I like the feel, especially for legato. The feel of a 9. And for I really love the feel of 9s, but the challenge is, especially on rhythm guitar work, the low E string, if you hit it hard, starts to go sharp. And so I reached out to Brian at Dunlop and I said, you know, you guys have got these heavy core strings. Can you custom wind a set that's a 9 through 42, but with a heavy core? And they sent these strings over, and I just completely love them. The other thing that's great about these Dunlop strings, you can bend a whole step and go for that minor third bend there. Hold on, listen. That's a major third. Little funky on the intonation there, my apologies, but the point being is most strings, I would never try that live. These strings, they've got a certain bendiness to them that's not like you're playing rubber bands, because I hate that feeling, but you can feel the string flex but not break at the bridge, which is where they always break on these guitars, and very low breakage. I absolutely love these. So they are 9 through 42, but they are a heavy core on the wound strings. So it means that they have a fatter sound. Oh, there we go. And Saxon, there we go. Paul Richard, hang on a second. Let me back up a step. Matt King, good morning, my friend. Oh, hey, there we go. There we go. Come on, bringing it in. There we go. Look at all these string users. And again, if I missed it, Michael, good morning to you. Eric, FM9 is amazing, isn't it? Okay, so Mike Cook, Ernie Ball, Slinky 9s. Do they still come with the extra high E? Or am I just so old that I remember the extra high E? Eric Marmburo, 9 for standard, 9.5 for a half step down. So that is to say, just for those of you that are stratoid or the tuning down thing, this guitar, a few years back, I was doing a thing called the Ultimate Speaker Demo, where I had Celestion basically send me every single one of the speakers they made in their product line, as well as the EVs were there, and then Eminence, I think the entire product line except for maybe one speaker or two, as well as the Jensens. And my buddy, Critter, I'd been on the hunt for one of these road-worn Strats, and he brought the guitar into the studio, 25th Street Recording. This was where we did it. And he handed me the guitar, and I kind of, hang on. He brought me the guitar. And by the way, I'm just going to have a little micro rant. I hate what I'm about to do. I hate the look. I'm just gonna say it, of a right angle jack into a Strat. But when this guitar showed up, it was at standard tuning. I was like, this guitar just needs to be an E flat. So I've always put 10s on it because as soon as I drop it a half step on a Strat, at least. It just, especially if you tune it down. Have a bit more delay than I would normally use for the setting, but well, hang on. And you know, with 9s, it would have just been too light. So when I'm working with a guitar that I tune down, my traditional jam is 9 through 42, but when I tune it down, I just put a set of 10 through 46 on that. Okay, Cobalt Ernie Balls. There we go, Mr. Lucchese, 9 through 42 standard tuning. You know, I use the D'Addario. The funny thing is going through the. It's literally a box about. Hold on, there we go. A box about this wide with 3 rows of strings. I'm like. There's more D'Addario spares in there than, like, I've lost guitar picks in my life practically. Holy cow. The Cobalts are great. Michael, I did an interview with Kirk Hammett's tech, Justin Crew, that I was reviewing last night. That's been approved by Justin. I've got to do some last edits, and the Metallica guys are using those, and they love them. So there's some talk on that video about their gauges and what they're doing kind of with a slightly heavier string on the bottom. They're basically doing the exact same thing that I'm doing, but by using a heavier core on the bottom, I'm able to get away without going up with the extra string size. My right hand is very much used to kind of the thickness of a 42, and when I can get away with not having to make it thicker, I'm into doing that. 9 through 46. So Tony, when you're a half step in, I like to bring the top part of the guitar up. I should say, up in size to the 10. That's my personal taste. Oh, and then Tony goes on to say 10 through 46 drop to D flat. There we go. Sonia, 9 through 42 Ernie Ball usually, but occasionally rotos. I've got 2 different sets of rotos that are in there, or the 095 DR and round course. Nice. Captain Scarlet, the gear whisperer himself. On my Strat single coil guitars, I use GH boomers and 9s. On my Les Paul humbucker, I use Ernie Ball Cobalts in 10s. So this is the other thing is that, you know, kind of the implicit thing is I am a string geek. I'm fanatical about strings, and I'm really glad you asked this question, Saxon. Eric Johnson Strat, I love that. 9s, G&L Telecaster, 10s, and then Gibson 339, 9.5. Oh boy, you're an expensive guy to take for strings. Holy cow! Do you buy your strings online, or do you go into a store? All right, hang on a second. Back to this all Excel. Okay, yeah, Tony. You know, the funny thing is that there are people who swear by the NYXLs, and there are a bunch of folks who love the traditional XLs. I think I'm kind of with you, but I think it's just because I'm used to those strings so much. So there you have it. The different guitars. Strats 9 through 42. Gibson Les Pauls, traditionally I've been a 9 through 46, if you will, light top, medium bottom. But again, with the right hand, I didn't want to have to compromise the work that I put in on getting used to playing through a 9 through 42 set. Let's see, where are you? It's over there. Hang on a second, grabbing another guitar. Oh, why not? Let me get over to that right there. There we go. All right. I have turned the delay down because I'm not hooked up 2. That's not going to work. Oh, bummer. Wonder if I can. No, I can't force it. Bummer. So this is a 59 Telly that's on loan from a really dear friend of mine. And I would have to go through a little bit more. Oh, well worth it. Hang on a second. Let me work a little bit. The great thing about having that kind of go-to box is it's a go-to box if I need to. Oh, right. I remember why I don't want to do this. So the funny thing about this right angle jack here into the front end of the boogie there, it's just kind of a nightmare trying to get it out. So I'm not going to plug this in right now. But in any case, this guitar... I forgot I tuned it. I mean, you can hear these strings are giant. They're probably 11s, but for this particular guitar, my buddy, when he loaned me the high-powered twin, he just happened to have this in his car, and he's like, "Hey, you got to check this out." And I was like, I do got to check it out. And it's one of the best rhythm guitars I've ever played, in part. So this is what I'm going to be using for all the rhythms on the title track of Swagger. But this guitar is just an insane rhythm instrument. Sounds great on lead, but the strings are a little much for me. It's a 1959, used to belong to Joe Bonamassa. It's a refin, and I flippin' love this guitar. So this, actually, if you look in the back, you can see the colors. No, you can't see. The colors of Diodario. So, and Saxon goes on to say, I use Ernie balls and Super Slinky that seem to work well for living by the ocean. Yeah, that whole thing is a deal. I'm fortunate enough, I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area, but I'm 35 miles or so from the water, and I don't have an oxidation problem. But in my secret dream life, I have a successful enough music career going out and going out and playing these songs and having maybe people fall in love with them or something, that I can actually afford to live part-time by the ocean. But that saltwater stuff is a thing. All right, hang on. Did I miss anybody? XL, there we go. For me, if it doesn't fit in the guitar cases, the pedalboard case, I'm not taking it with me anywhere. So nice to walk into a venue, 2 guitar cases and just an FM9 and plug in and ready to go. Eric, absolutely agreed. Although, I will say this particular rig here, it's 2 412s. It's the Rack of Doom. Hang on, the rig. There we go. So literally, I run a cable into the amp, because as of right now, I'm not using a pedal board. I'm in the process of seeing if I like a pedal board into the front end of the amp. I'm going to use PVC-6X. Where are you? Yeah, there we go. Hang on a second. Getting rid of Telly. Moving over. Oh, I got another interesting guitar here to show you as well. Hang on. All right. Boom, 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 boom. Almost there. Still almost there. I'm really almost there. I'm there. Okay. Here we go. Let's do a little bit of this. Hey, there we go. So this is the PBC-6X, and this is from the guys at RJM Music Technology. And basically, if you look at Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Dream Theater, they're all using some of the RJM stuff. So I'm going to use this as my first line of attack for splitting between the 2 high-powered twins. This will be on the pedal board. And I'm believing that the through signal of this, when all the loops are bypassed, because basically this is a MIDI, there we go. This is a MIDI loop switcher and controller. So I can use it to control all my MIDI. I can create presets that certain pedals turn on or off. I can put it into pedal board mode and then kind of switch the individual loops on and off as if I was stepping on individual stomps. And I have then the ability to kind of sit down and twist a knob, which is something you can't really do in the midst of a gig with a fractal. One of the questions that came in, and I actually am going to answer this question because they're in my notes here. Do you, well, first of all, I think pedals sound different using a battery than a power supply? If you ask Eric Johnson, the answer is a definite yes, and I'm going to come back to the rest of these the string gauges in just a moment. But I want to make sure I don't miss this. They do, especially as the battery begins to fade. I actually have, this is, by the way, I started to talk a little bit about stagecraft. These things are all interrelated because I'm spending so much time focusing on preparing to play live. And Saxon, in particular, when I mentioned this video thing, and anybody that's watching there that's playing live, one of my favorite things about watching Saxon play, and again, looking at the 1994 version of myself, is you really get a chance to see your development kind of in 3D, in that, you're visually watching it, but you're hearing it. You're hearing the nuance of the notes. You're hearing how the right hand has changed over the past 2 months. I moved from having to pick here, which is my favorite place to play, tonally speaking. And by the way, I always, and I almost broke the rule, bring the cable through the strap so you don't step on it and turn and trash your cable. Again, I'm always kind of thinking gig preparedness. But the thing about the pick hitting the string here, I don't like the sound as much as that one, but if you listen to the, especially on the bottom string, because the string's a little bit floppier over here, if I, as I'm down on the bottom strings especially, I want that a little bit of extra attack that I get there and a little bit less pick noise. I don't prefer the sound, but that is to say the sound. But if I want to, I can move my hand. But when I'm playing with higher gain, the one thing that it's a little bit of a problem that I'm getting used to is that I'm used to being able to, with the left hand, when I'm playing on the third string, tip of that first finger is muting the fourth string. Same thing happens when I move up to the second string, tip of the first finger is muting the third string. When I'm on the high E string, the tip of that first finger is muting the second string. But the right hand, with the angle change to my right hand, I'm not as adept at getting that third string covered there, so I'm getting a little bit of noise there that you get these sympathetic, here's a G. Now, it's a cool effect when you want that, but not when you don't. And so it kind of adds this kind of a haze, if you will, around the notes that's not groovy. Okay, hang on just a second. Let me get back up here. All right. Into sweep arpeggio, Stanley. Yes, we will. Hang on. I need to make a note. Sweep. Okay. Elixirs, Taylor T5s on the 11, or 11s on the Taylor T5, depending on which tuning and which guitar. Nags or Kiso. Boy, you're sporting 10 through 46 or 9 through 42s. Excellent, excellent, excellent. 21 frets, though. Okay. Hey, legend, I'm down under at 2:30 in the morning after a gig. Battery thing. So, one, I have batteries in this guy. Two, I've got a bunch of batteries, and I was talking about the tradecraft and the cabling. The other thing that I do is I keep a Sharpie around that does not yet have a living space here, but my batteries will get a marking like this with the date. of when the battery was good. So I'll make a little note on that. So when I find a battery like this, I'm kind of like, oh, okay, so this is 23.6. That's letting me know this is 2023 in June. So if this battery, and then usually what I'll do is when it's reached its expiration point, I'll write a D, because in the back here, we're still kind of getting this plate dialed in, so it's just a little bit of tape there. But there's the battery compartment for the Sustainiac. So I need to keep track of when a battery is good and when it's bad. So I'll write a D on the other side for dead. The same thing happens as the battery is draining down. Arguably, sometimes the favorite place to put the battery is not at its full voltage. It's kind of, sometimes devices sound a little bit better without that same amount of power. Conversely, there are some power supplies that allow you to choose how much voltage you're actually sending to a pedal in case you want to starve it a little bit. I prefer in a live situation to reduce the number of batteries if humanly possible, simply because it reduces the liability. The other thing is, these days, increasingly, there's an ever greater number of pedals that come out that just don't have a battery compartment. Because everybody kind of wants more pedals than their board. The space for batteries seems to be kind of the common thing. Is like, let's make pedals without batteries. So, and if they do take batteries, you got to unscrew the bottom. Actually, I will have to say, Rick, you know what's going on? The real man appears. 10 through 60. I dare anybody to play through 10 through 60. I don't care where there's drop D. That's a manly. Hold on, there we go. That's a. It's not a manly. You can't say that, isn't it? That's bench pressing 500 pounds with one arm. Rick, you are the man. All right. Holy cow. Okay. So is it a faux pas to play A minor pentatonic over an A major chord? I'm going to jump around a little bit. So I did the battery thing. First of all, that doesn't mean that I don't like batteries. I actually do like plugging into a pedal, especially when the batteries started to wear down and kind of, it's not at its optimal thing. Sometimes you get really great tones and then it dies and then the magic is over and you can never get that sound back. So I'm going to turn back a little bit of the special sauce here. Okay, let's do a little bit of this. So if we're playing an A major chord. So this chord is an A major chord. If you were to look at the A major scale, A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, and A, and we were to look at the first, third, and fifth tones, those are A, C sharp, and E. The 1, 3, and the 5. And this chord is voiced 1, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1. That is to say, A, B, C sharp, D, E, 1, 5, F sharp, G sharp, A, 1, 5, 1, B, C sharp, 1, 5, 1, 3, as in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, A, E, A, C sharp, 4, 5, E, and A, 1, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1. So in theory, a scale that goes 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, 1 isn't going to fit there. Now, if I played, instead of the A major scale, which again is A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, I played the next major type scale up the neck, that is to say, the one that includes a natural 1, 3, and 5, that would be A leading, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, and A. And then the next one, you hit 1, 4, and 5, mixed leading, A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G, A. Over both the major and, sorry, let me rephrase. The major, the leading, and the mixed leading all support a major chord. Over the major scale, I would not use the minor pentatonic with that little flat 3 to the, just a little bit of a micro bend, nor would I use that over the Lydian mode. But the mixed Lydian mode is this strange. So I can play that major chord right there. And again, I'm now aiming for A and C sharp. Or C sharp and A, I should say. Sorry, C with a little baby bend to C sharp. And that little baby bend there. And I walk it. Little chromatic. And that's a full dominant, I should say, that's a 1 flat 7 3. That's a dominant 7 chord, but I can just play a major chord. Missed the harmonic there, but in any case, there we go, a little more gain. I have Les Paul's custom open B tuning with 11. You are nuts. And Diodario, awesome. Okay, good. Rick. Ron Martin, 10 through 46, NYXL. Ron, tell me why you like the NYXLs. Rolf, I love that guitar so much. I love you, my friend. How you doing? I love this guitar too. It just it's allowed me to be me. Matt King, great guitar player, by the way. If you haven't heard Matt, you need to. I use Diodario excess corrosion treated strings lately, but not for tone, but for durability. I usually change strings every 2 weeks given my work, and EXL 120s. Since the XS came out, I haven't changed strings. Wow. So you know, it was an interesting thing interviewing again Justin Crew, Kirk's Tech. You know, the thing is that there are certain things about strings. There's strings that you play every day, and there's strings on guitars that you don't play every day that you open the case. And I'm sure you've had this happen if you got more than one guitar. You open the case and you're like, wow, the strings got corroded and I didn't even play them. And sometimes that's on a new set of strings. The cobalts apparently are very, although they're not coated, they're very good about not corroding. So if Justin changes a set of strings, maybe on the last day of, you know, they basically, they can tour 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off because they're Metallica. But they're able to, and that interview I've got to do a little bit of editing and flying some photos. That'll be up in the next 2 weeks, something like that. But it's great. They're talking about why they started using, I should say, Justin is talking about why they went to a fractal-only rig for the consistency from night to night, no tube, but he's also talking about what he used to do in terms of monitoring with the 2 amps. In case you didn't know, Metallica's Jam has always been a blend of 2 amps, which I thought was very interesting. So kind of the way that they sit together. So you used to have to listen to one on one side and the other on the other just to listen for any crackling. Lots of great tech stuff, because again, as I mentioned before, I'm always, because I am my guitar tech, I have to be paying attention to know how everything works, so in case something goes wrong, like being able to go to the front end of the Axe effects and know enough of my way around that if I want to bring the delay up or off without having the deep editor on a gig, I can. That's kind of what are the minimum number of things that you need to know how to do, such that in case you're like, hey, you know what, I'm in this, I don't know, baked potato, the room is absolutely totally dead in a good way, and so you've got all of a sudden kind of go, oh, I thought I had enough delay and reverb on my presets, but boom, I've got to turn it up there. That little bit of rig intelligence and kind of, again, always running your your cable through the strap so you don't step on the cable and turn and break the cable, especially on a gig. I actually have committed a cardinal sin here. I don't actually have a strap lock strap here. These guitars are all fitted with strap locks and Dunlop straps. Kind of consistency is my thing, and reliability. Okay. The interesting thing is to try and explain to people that there is a difference between 9s and 10s. I can't even imagine a Captain Scarlet that somebody wouldn't. Well, actually, the best way to do it, I tell you what, here's a set of 9s and 10s. You go home and play them, and you tell me the difference. Counterfeit strings, who knew? Hang on, I missed a post there. I buy direct from Diodario. They email coupons and offer 3-packs and other combos. Awesome. All right. So this string thing mattered. Jimmy Jet, I did actually text you the other night. I was the guy. So Jimmy Jet messaged me. And this is just for pisses and giggles. This is not opening myself up to 5 million Facebook Messenger messages. I'm much better than I used to be. But you can reach me in person on the show. If you got a question, I will answer it in a reasonable period of time here. If it's urgent and there's something personal, you know how to reach me. Messenger works, but it's not like kind of like, oh, let's message Doug all week. That said, so he offered some advice on the high power twins. So the interesting thing is, I did message you, but I was the guy that said, your tax refund is ready. Reply. And you never, that I said, waited like 60 seconds and I hit you again. It was just like, just kidding, it's Doug. Oh, I have too much fun. So in any case, the thing that I discovered by actually running the high-powered twins into the Boogie cabinet, the floppiness is in the open back cabinet and the 212s that are in there. The Boogie halfbacks flipping tight as a spanked posterior. That really didn't come out right. Brett, what's going on? Great to see you. Yes, a huge difference between gauges. If you play more than an hour or two a day, absolutely. Yosef, by the way, if you get a chance to check out his Facebook page, Kawar, I hope I pronounced that wrong, has got this crazy 7-string with a Sustainiac. It is a 7-string, right? But it's a fretless guitar. It's so awesome, and the tones are killer. And he was doing this, but some crazy. I can't even do it. It's like relentlessly, like for 20 minutes. I was like, holy cow. Gig got canceled. Jay, that's a bummer. All right. Shocked to hear there's no USB chargeable Sustainiac. So actually, Matt, so the thing is, I don't want anything with one of those flipping USB cables because the spec, I've got... Now, I'm going to, that is to say, let me be really clear. One of the things that Lindy Day is teaching me is to, like, first of all, the depth of my emotion should never sound like the depth of my conviction about what I'm doing that's right that somebody else is doing wrong. Because we know each other. We're buds, so it's cool. But I've got more of these stupid flipping cables with different terminations floating around my desktop. All right, I got Lightning. I got USB 2.0. I don't remember whether it's the A or the B. I've got USB... Come on. Where are you, you little sucker? USB-C. I've got USB-C to USB 2. I mean, I'm just like... I'm over it. I get that USB-C is really cool, and I get that. But the interesting thing is... I used to remember, I think micro came first and mini came after. So the new spec is USB to mini for a lot of these different pedals and effects. The fact that I've already got a battery is a little bit of an inconvenience, but I actually don't want a USB thing because I just want to be able to stick a battery in there that I know that's new. I've got a battery tester. I want to be able to get a read out of the battery. And I'm done. I don't have to leave the guitar in. I can understand why you might want that. So let me be clear. My personal thing is I just want to put a new battery in there. I just want to be done. That's just me. And you are an esteemed and highly regarded player. So I respect your input and your feedback. There's certain things that, for me, that for whatever reason, I'm just a jerk about. But I'm just like, no. Hey, Steve, what's going on? XL9246 for Strats. And 10 through 46 for Les Pauls. Love it. All right. Good. Uli John Roth uses a TRS cable that splits the signal from one part of the cable for audio and the other goes to a 9-volt power supply to power the guitar. That's pretty crafty. Bobby Valdez, Fog City, my friend. Back to dad duty. Matt, I love you, bro. See you a little bit later. The Sharp 3 would sound odd over a minor. So again, what we're talking about, so the Sharp 3 would sound, so taking that flat 3, yeah, I would not do that flat 3 over a minor chord. So what do I look for in a string? Great question. So... consistency up and down the neck. I have fallen in love with the fact that these strings on this guitar, when I do an extended bend, they don't go out of tune. But at the same time, I'm not taking the edge of my finger. I play about 12 hours a day. And when I play on some of these other guitars that have 10s on them, every so often I'll take the cuticle and pull the skin on the finger, or if I'm just having a crazy day where it's like, let's go bonkers bending. Because part of what I'm trying to do, my big takeaway, and I'm jumping around a little bit, but that's what I do. From the gig in Los Angeles, this is what was so great about having a video. It's like I strayed further from the melodies than I wanted to. What I'm preparing in this next set of gigs to do is we're adding some songs to the repertoire, and there will be an actual band. And this band. But I'm kind of going to be very conscious of like, all right, Doug, stay with the plot on this song, and specific songs are going to be used for certain types of things soloing-wise. So if I want to be notey and I get excited and I want to, shred on that, I don't shred all over the entire set. And the Los Angeles gig and watching back, I was like, part of it was I hadn't, and this is the thing, and I will encourage any of you that are playing live, Brett Milligan, NYXL 11 on every guitar and on my bass. I don't think you put the NYXLs on there. Brent, by the way, is an esteemed producer and brilliant session bass player. So he uses real strings. And the great thing about 11s, like on that guitar or wherever it is, the intonation issues you have with 9s are not as much of an issue when you spend time in the studio. It's a serious thing. That's why I wanted to go with the heavy core 9 through 42s, and they allowed me to solve a very big problem because I want to use, if I'm going to use this guitar for rhythms, which generally speaking, I'm going to use different guitars for rhythms. And the great thing is I'm a Gibson endorser. The good folks at Gibson, I reached out to my artist relations handler. I said, look, in the process of making this album, and this is one of the reasons I seem to be just in slow mode, but I'm also discovering stuff about myself as a player in the songs, and I'm allowing the songs to breathe. That's why that LA gig was so important to me. And the idea, if you're working on an instrumental thing or a vocal thing, go out and play the songs. Play them anywhere. Play them in the backyard for your neighbors. But you begin to find stuff changes, and it's important stuff. Really important stuff. I find myself going back and playing the melodies a little bit differently, and I'm like, that is the way the songs need to be played. So that's a really important part of this. But the idea is generally I'm going to be using some Telecasters for a number of the rhythms. I'm also going to be using the Greenie Les Paul, the Greenie replica, I should say, and that guitar sounds great. So you get this guitar in particular. The thing about the Flying V, got a really nice warm tone to it, and it's got a warmth and a fatness to it without it being tubby that I really, really love. So to counterbalance that in the mix, I want the guitars, the rhythm guitars, to be tighter. Greenie is a less bassy instrument, but still an extremely full instrument. Great contrast to this, as are the Tellers. I also mentioned this other guitar here that I've now swapped back to the other cable, but this is a very interesting little thing that I saw at NAMM. This is called a Telecaster. It was designed by Gene Baker, one of the original custom shop guys, and this was part of their founder's design. So this is I pulled this out of the case because I'm, again, just a great combination of a Strat and a Tele put together. That may make it on. If I end up double tracking, one of the things I'm going to try doing is putting the two high-powered twins on the left and the right. And just one of my favorite studio tricks is to use one guitar in either 2 amps, panned left and right, or one guitar, 1 amp and 2 cabinets and or IRs, or just traditional double tracking, one guitar and another guitar. That and the 59 Tele will sound great together. The thing is that I really like that one guitar and kind of slightly different things on the left and the right producing the same signal. So the tracking of it is perfect. It just breathes a little bit differently on the left and the right. Eric Vaughn, 9246, also Music Man. There we go. So Paul is asking me why I'm Bogner for live, and I know you meet the boogie, so I'm gonna. This is an interesting thing, and it kind of ties into Michael 9246. All right. So the thing is, interesting, and Brett is going from the Helix to the Boss. I love the GT stuff. Waiting to sell to get the other. The GT stuff is great. That was designed by my dear friend Jeff Slingleff, who passed away. But he was just a genius. He's the magic in the GT there. So the kind of lost my train of thought. There we go. The boogie. So getting back to the kind of the cross section between this last gig, this channel here, the number 3 channel. If I hang out on that channel all day long, I'm basically it's just Stanley, very quick thing. Try it. That was D major, E minor, F sharp minor, G major, A major, B minor, C sharp diminished. And that's just taking sweep. I should say sweep with the downstroke across the 1 and the 3. Upstroke with the 5. Pull off the 3. And then doing them in groups of 3 if you want to. That's right, the 5, 6, and 7 together. And just mess around with that, and that's a great place to start. So start there. All right. But the thing is that especially within a live setting where you kind of get excited. Especially at higher volume, it becomes a little bit harder to manage the guitar. So I spent some time when I got back from that show dialing in the second channel. And as I learned from Maddie, John Petrucci's tech, Second channel is really pretty true to the Mark II C+, the metallic amp, the original Petrucci amp, that now has basically become the JP2C, which is my pretty much favorite amp in the entire flippin' world. Absolutely out of my mind about this amp. I love the third channel. If I lived there, I would shred all day long. Kind of my self-control with that third channel. I just get excited. I'm like, I just want to go for it. The thing that, the informative part about this, and this gets back to one of Chris Alexander's questions, does the Mesa need any type of boost to get your tone? No. That third channel is just, and I'm just going straight into the amp, and the Axe effect is actually after the amp. Can you see it in that photo? And again, I'm going to do a video once I'm done with the video on the high-powered twins. I know you meant Boogie. So we're good like that. Groups of 5, Saxon. I didn't even know what subdivisions were when I was little. That's not true. I knew how to count eighth notes and 16th as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Saxon, I'm curious. Do you count measures like 1 2 3 4 2 2 3 4 3 2 3 4 4 2 3? I bet you do. Rostislav, hello, congrats on your new album. Thank you so much. It's so good. Your V sounds solid. Does it neck dive at all? What a great question. So the tragic bit about, I've got these Epiphone Vs that I love. They're really, really good, that I've got them tuned down to C sharp. But they totally neck dive. And I'm like, this is a problem. This guitar does not neck dive, and I love that. It would have been a kind of a deal breaker. So what he's talking about is this thing for those, flipping A, sorry, hold on, I can do this, there we go. Neck dive, there we go. That is, when you put the guitar on and the neck is so heavy, it rebalances itself that. So the problem with the Epiphone, what are those called? Is it an Eclipse? Something like that. That the neck is so heavy compared to the body. So don't tell Melissa Doppler, who is of course watching. I'm about to out myself this year. No, I didn't buy it. So I've been kind of, we're looking at songs to bring in from new instrumental because we're needing to extend the set. And so we've been looking at songs. Funky Armadillo is going to probably be on there. There are a couple of other contenders. Thinking about Star-Crossed Lover. But the thing is that I can use the virtual capo in the fractals. That's one of the things I'm going to explore. But the other thing is that Epiphone makes this 7-string. So I found one, and this guy apparently installed this metal, kind of looks like a Mesa Boogie dual rectifier front pick guard that counterbalances the neck dive. So, you know, and I said, you know, I don't know how I'm going to have this conversation with my wife. And, you know, I said, but, you know, let me know how it's going to be packed and shipped and all of that. So he gets back and said, you know, when it comes to my wife, I always agree to sell a guitar before I buy another one. Or when I'm going to buy another one, I'm like, yeah, that's probably not going to go over great. But so in any case, but he installed this heavier pickguard on it, and the neck doesn't dive. So the problem with these particular Epiphones is the neck does dive, which is really too bad because they actually flip and sound great. Let me get the main one. Hang on. Where are you? No? Are you upstairs? Okay. There. I got a first one, and I liked it so much in my kind of infinite kind of like, okay, gotta have a hot swappable backup if I'm going to be on stage, which is kind of, again, you know, if your guitar goes down, you got to have another one kind of in the wings. So let's see, let's pull this, and this guy, like the other one, and this, I got some crazy heavy core Dunlop stuff on there. Hello, come on, there we go. Come through there, there we go. But the problem is you put the strap on. Gosh darn it. Oh, look at that. Look who didn't put the cable through the strap. I always put the cable through the strap. That's what she said. I always put the cable through the strap. And that's what she said. I always need stagecraft. You think I give other people a hard time? Hardly. So the neck basically starts flopping. So there you go. That's neck dive. And unless I've got the thing in kind of like this, Footman guitar sounds great. So, any case. This amp, that's the number 2 channel. This is the clean channel. I don't know what it's going to sound like with this little bit of business here. Try the middle position. That's a great sounding instrument. It's an Epiphone. I'm kind of, I go back and forth. Do I really want to play an Epiphone on stage? What does it say to people? And it says that you're humble enough that you just want a guitar that sounds great. So I guess, I'm thinking about offing this for the 7-string, but we'll have to see. And Sonia, I can't stand diving necks. I had a V90. And I made myself a special bracket to replace the neck pin to move the center of gravity, yet stick and articulate at the same time. Brett, this guitar is just nuts. Sub-$1,000 guitar. I'm a DiMarzio endorser. These are the Fishman. I think these are a slightly less expensive version of the Fishman Fluence pickups, but they've got these push-pull things for this guitar. Holy cow. So I'm still working on dialing in the clean channel a little bit. So there are 2 different EQs, and I'm just kind of back and forthing it here. That's just how it's going to be today, so please forgive. There are 2 different EQs. So you can see on the left graphic EQ there, that bottom slider, though, you won't be able to see that that's 80 hertz, but trust me, that's 80 hertz. I need to pull that guy back, I think probably just a little bit, and that'll solve. It's just a little bit of booming. A little tiny bit of boominess that I can pull out of there that just doesn't need to be in the mix. But it's a great sounding guitar. Really, really. Tony, yeah, I forgot to sell a couple myself. You're not helping, buddy. Yeah, no. She saw that. Like I said, the moment I said you're not helping, and Melissa Doppler forgot. Okay, so the Mesa Boogie does not need any boost. But that said, this particular second channel, let's switch back to the main guitar here for this. And notice again, Tradecraft. I almost always will stand by the amp when pulling the cable. Not always, but almost always. And I've got, there we go, that USB cable. And just in case anybody is fractal, I have a long cable with an extender on it that I almost always have connected via USB. So again, to my whole comment about USB, when I'm in a place that USB makes sense, I'm a huge fan. So pretty much the AxeFX3 back here is pretty much always connected to Axe Edit or FM3, AxeFX3 Edit or Axe Edit, whatever the hell it is. It's got the 3 symbol on it now. So I can go in and deep edit and kind of do any sound design that I want to do. The thing about Larry Mitchell and these clinics or these workshops, these fractal audio workshops, he's an in-the-box guy. And I if you haven't seen his Tuesday night live streams, the sounds are just inconceivable. Another guy that comes to mind is Andy Timmons. So if you keep it, I will put a tone zone and an Aaron Norton. So that's funny. So the tone zone is so these guys are so back up a step. This guitar is a partnership between myself and Gary Brower, my guitar tech, the guy that works on Kirk Hammett's guitars. If I said James, Kirk, Joe, and Neil, and you think of the Bay Area, it's the right James, Kirk, Joe, and Neil, right? The guys. So I knew I wanted to explore the V. Again, the short story is I had an Ibanez lawsuit era V in the bedroom because you can put a flying V kind of. Let's see if I can get it in frame here. No, yes. There you go. So you can kind of lean it up against something like this, and it stands on its own. So I can hide it in between a dresser and the wall. Not really hidden, but Melissa allows me to keep that guitar in the bedroom. So I've got a bedroom guitar if I want to sit and I'm not here. And the thing is that I live in this chair basically because the thing that I'm trying to do is I'm trying to absolutely become the best that I possibly can be. In the past week, I've gotten better exponentially. So, the great thing is I believe, and this is one of the conversations I've been having with Lindy Day, who you're going to be hearing a lot more about, is that, the longer you've been playing, the better you should get every week. Most people, and it's one of the things that I'm not going to mention any names, but I had a conversation with Angeline via text about, I mentioned a couple of players and they just kind of did this meteoric practicing. You could just tell they just shedded. And they just took their foot off the gas, for a couple of decades. I'm just like, what the hell is that? I mean, you got the gift, flipping, get back out there and dig that soil. So I'm working my behind off to do a couple of things. I think all of us, first of all, would love to be able to emulate Simon, Saxon, brother. I don't know what you said yes to, but it's got to be something funny. I must have done something silly. So, in any case, first of all, to everybody, thanks so much for hanging out. This is me having this. I am both a social person and an unsocial person. Not to say I'm unsociable, but I'm an introverted extrovert. I need time to refuel. So this whole where some people. Zach, the interesting thing is that I actually am going to mention this. So one of the things that because I'm spending so much time seated, if I'm not careful, I do this, and I've been getting some muscle aches in my back from this. So first of all, one of the things that I noticed was I had the strap too extended, so I've raised the strap, and ideally the strap should be the same height that when you stand up, the guitar sits in the same place as when you sit down. You can see I've got it pretty much perfect there, but it was too low. I was just trying to look too cool like an idiot. And what was happening is because the guitar was down there, I was hunching. And so the hunchback guitar name, I'm just like, no, let's not do that. So I'm trying to be really conscious of my hand position again. The guitar should sit, if you will, on the y-axis at the same height when you're standing or sitting, so it's not shifting. And that's one of the reasons I'm always on people, don't do this thing, because you're going to have trouble when you go to stand up and play. Everything's going to be different, including, if you think about the axis of the right hand, look at that. I mean, just like, it's all sorts of trouble you're just inviting in. Bad stuff. And so, yeah, the strap is continuously there. So that's what's great about these guitars. Gary Brower. So we got to, and by the way, I do this such that if I don't see people's comments coming in and reply and bring them over to the second computer I've got up and running, I miss stuff, and I don't want to miss stuff. So that's a little bit why it's a little bit wasn't he just talking about the guitar with Gary Brower? So this guitar is outfitted with DiMarzios, except for the Sustainiac. And I called Gary and I said, look, I had that first V. I really love playing it. I've fallen in love with it. And then it started with an 81 that's over there. But it didn't have a bound neck. And I don't like playing Gibsons that don't have a bound neck. It's a great sounding guitar. But, it didn't cost that much more than this one did. But I'm not into taking that guitar out. That's a home guitar. But what we did with that guitar and we did with this one, this is it's just some strange, the 58th anniversary or something of the PAF. Like they couldn't wait another 2 years because they were so excited about it. And Gary was like, you want to try that? And I've really grown to enjoy this a lot. The Tone Zone was my main bridge pickup Brett. And then the Virtual Isle 2 middle model. And the battery, truth be told, on the Sustainiac died. And so I don't have these upper positions other than I should have middle position. That's the rhythm part for Swagger, and that's the middle position on this guitar, which is that middle pickup. And that is the number 2 channel on the sound. If I heard that sound on a recording, I would never think, oh, well, that's a flying V in the middle position. It's just like, would never think that. So Gary and I I said I want to, I was looking at a couple of the other tremolo options because he knows I flogged the log a little bit. And so I kind of went through a couple of ideas, and he said, have you tried the Floyd Rose FRX? And I hadn't. So I reached out to Floyd Rose because I'm a bit of a known entity given my age. I'm now a Floyd Rose endorser. So they sent out this tremolo. I don't know if I got artist pricing on it or they sent the first one for free. But in any case, I love it. The thing is that for the amount of flogging that I do and the fact that it doesn't have springs in the back that is top mount, so you don't destroy your guitar in the process, for the pulling up part, we just to really get it to stay in tune, we had to set it, and I shouldn't do this, but such that it's back against the body there. So I can't do a bunch of my favorite vibrato things. So if I want to... I can't do the kind of the circular vibrato. That's a bit of a bummer, but to not have to route this thing, because I'm a little concerned by the time I take a big chunk out of this guitar out of it, that it's going to change the character of the instrument. I really love the character of the instrument. So at this point, I've kind of just decided I'm going to go with this as it is. The thing that happened, though, was the original first of all, I also knew that I wanted a 5-way switch. So I basically got a chance to build the guitar of my dreams. I wanted something that was Gibson scale. I love the sound of the slightly shorter Gibson scale. And I'm able to play it a little bit better than a Fender scale / Ibanez scale instrument. So I was like, okay. Well, I was looking at this, and I was looking at where the 5-way switch was, and I was like, I need to put it there. And the original switch was, I think, there. And that's why it's not perfectly aligned on this pickguard, because as I recall, we just took the original pickguard and started drilling some stuff in here. But I looked at that and I went, you know, if we put that 4th control there, it fits exactly where it does like this. I've never, ever seen another flying V made by Gibson that takes the Les Paul style here. Because of some of the stuff happening with the 5-way switch, there's some weird things that we're going to have to figure out with Alan Hoover from Sustainiac, because of how the Sustainiac works in combination with the switch. And as of right now, the middle position does not have a tone control on it, which is the only bummer about this particular pickup. Is depending on how it's set, it's bright enough that it can be a little tiny bit strident. So I don't quite know how we're going to solve this thing, and I may not be able to get everything that I want out of this configuration, but it's pretty close. So it's, you know, this is all the way in the neck. This is these two. This is just this guy. This is these two, and then that's the bridge. And then volume and tone for the bridge, and number 2 pickup selection, volume for the middle selection, and then volume and tone for the number 4 and number 5 pickup selection. So it's a really neat instrument. The one problem that we haven't solved yet, and it's flipping just blew up on me at the gig 3 times. I made the same mistake. Is what you've got to do is have to get all, for whatever reason, it's some little thing about the way this is set up, a little bit like in the middle position of a Les Paul, is that if you start backing off on one of the volume controls, it affects the blend of stuff. All the way down to the bridge, if I don't have this volume control all the way up, for whatever reason, it impacts how much signal is passing through here. But it's because of all the crazy stuff we're doing around the Sustainiac. Perhaps too much information, but it's not perfect yet, and it may not be perfect. But it allows me to do all the things that I want to do, especially the Sustainiac, which pulls on there, and then this is the fundamental, and this is up the octave. And I've gotten used to, with this thing now, being able to reach down there and grab it without having to look. I kind of like, it literally is kind of right if you, with the bar out of the way, and actually, I haven't actually tried doing it like that, where I move the bar. Usually I just reach around the back side of the bar. But you could easily, it's literally kind of right in the natural axis of where the hand would go. And kind of like going like, if you will, kind of an alarm or a clock hand, right? So I know where that puppy is. But traditionally I just reach around the back side. And at this point, I kind of know where that sucker is. It's easy to get there. Oh, wrong one. That's the on and off. That's that one. There we go. So I guess I don't know where it is. So the point being is that functionally this guitar does so many great things that I love. And it's very pretty. The number 2 position here. So getting back to the setup and kind of why this amp, it's the best amp I've ever played. One of the things we'll be doing, as I mentioned, kind of putting together these little kind of demos here of gear that's here. I've got some really outstanding amplifiers here, but for the things that I want to be able to do, again, be able to get a nice clean tone. So this is the number 2 pickup selection, everything all the way up. It's just like, it's gorgeous. I mean, just the natural compression and the sustain, just like, I mean, to be able to go, that's the clean channel, and I've still got a little bit of EQ fine tuning to do there, but here's the number 3. And backing off with the volume on number 3. I mean, come on. And then you can go from that. One amp that does that, take my money. Just done. Just done. Thanks, Paul. Holy cow. Eric, I'll see you later. Mark, what's going on? Hello, hello, hello. Ask Floyd next time you see him, what should the radius be for compound 1217? I don't know, Floyd. The funny thing is, yeah, I really love the, who makes it? Yeah, oh, thanks, Mark. Hey, Chris Colombo. Yes, Tony, all the other pickups are off when the Sustainiac is on. So what happened at the gig was, like, in the bridge position, to get the volume all the way up, you've got to have the neck pickup all the way on. And I just kind of went up to the neck position, just kind of, I think, to mute the bridge position so I could bring the volume up and then bring it on. And because of the amount of volume, it was over, wow! And because that's kind of what I practice rehearsing here, I did it not once, not 2 times, but by the 3rd time, I'm like, have I learned nothing? Holy cow. So we got to fix out a little bit of that. The hardest part of promising to sell something is finding which piece of gear is expendable enough to let go. I'm not going to even comment on that. Somebody say something. All right. Gosh darn it. So getting back to the question, the number 2, so one of the things I'm going to experiment with, and that's kind of why I'm kind of trying to decide, am I going to do the pedal board in front? I really, really love the idea of being able to use a traditional element of a rig and kind of add the color. John, I'd love to see those videos. Thank you very much, John O. Great to see you. Thank you so much for coming, by the way. Yes, so that is regardless of the, yes, when I engage the Sustainiac, and that's one of the things that's a little bit kind of crazy. Once it's on, you're in the bridge position, Sustainiac is on. And the good news is to get out of it is there. That said, though, the volume control is, the bridge control, volume control is in charge of what's going on because the bridge pickup is feeding the Sustainiac. And it's probably the second video, because when we were in the studio, we recorded the basic tracks and then we shot video. And so, you know, truth be told, all the rhythm guitars and all the melodies are being recut here. And I think to this point, I've recorded all of 0 keeper parts. But part of what I'm doing, in addition to kind of getting this room ready, the first thing I'm going to cut is the rhythm guitars for Swagger. Because that video, I just got the rough edit in, and it's really cool. It's actually probably the final edit, but that's where those tweeds really need to have their place, and they're going to sound great there. That and the 59 Telly and maybe the Telecaster. But the point being is I'm also getting the room set up such that, and hang on a second. Let me see if I can't make this happen. Hold on. This is too cool to miss. I can show you this. Hang on. I did all that work. I can at least kind of, because I think all right, why aren't you? All right, hang on a second. All right, come on. Let's see if that solves that problem. This particular connection. And I hope I don't regret doing what I just... There we go. Okay, hang on. Let me go to this camera right here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the switcher and go there. All right. No, hold on. Oh, I need to do this. There we go. So I don't have my wide shot set up, but I can do a little bit of a... Oh, I can zoom. There you go. So there... Ah, look at that. Now we're talking. Can I move that? Oh, no, I can go like this, though. There we go. So that right there is the is my ISO booth. And so you can see, and again, getting back to this Tradecraft, I'm glad that I've been ranting on about this. Hey, Saxon, great to see you. You have a great day. Thanks for saying hello and saying goodbye and chiming in. It was great to hang out and talk with you here. Really excited to see what you're going to be doing. So do stay in touch, my friend. Hello and have a great day. Or I should say goodbye for now and have a great day. Cheers. And everybody, please go check out Saxon on social media. Holy cow, it'll make you want to practice. All right, so here's the Tradecraft. I'm running that long speaker cable through the handle on the kind of, if you will, if you're facing the front of the amp, the right-hand side from the back. It's on the left-hand side. Just in case as I'm kind of wheeling stuff around, I don't kind of decapitate that speaker cable at the jack or trash the jack back there. So that's one of the half-back cabinets, but you won't necessarily be able to see. You can kind of see that cable, the jack, is in the upper of the two stereo inputs. So the other one, and that's the left-hand side, the other one's going to go below there. So that's how I'm going to put an actual load on those two. Oh, now we've gone to, oh, there we go, good. That's how we're going to put a load on, an actual speaker load on the two high-powered twins. And then I'm going to be using the 2 Notes Cab M Plus. This may be the original. This is a Cab M Plus, and then the Cab M that I've got, you can update so it's running the Cab M Plus firmware. So then I'm going to be able to bring that into the box. And I've also got my HV37. So then basically, my guitar is going to go into the HV37. That goes straight into Pro Tools. The output of that goes into the front end of the Boogie or to the PVC6X, which is how I will get into that pair of amps there, the Fender high-powered twins. And so that, because everything is being captured with the raw DI, even if, I want to change, how I'm running into the front end of things, when we go to actually do the actual studio recordings, because the goal, the end result, unless we're so happy with what we've got here, is that we'll take these amps into the studio and Mr. Coonaberry will mic them up with his magic and really kind of fine-tune the EQ and things in a studio environment with a bazillion-dollar studio at 25th Street Recording, and really kind of work his magic with the microphone as opposed to just staying entirely in the box. So that's Eddie O'Brien. Great to see you, my dear friend. Awesome. Thanks, Saxon. Again, always a pleasure. Or all two. And I have a feeling I will be seeing more of you, my friend. So, and you know what? Just a little bit of praise. You're obviously working on the instrument. You keep doing what you're doing. You sound great, dude. So, boom. All right. So, this whole concept of the rig and this wild thing is that, so many of us actually, it's an interesting thing when I go to the guitar camps and teach. I'd much rather be one of the guys than one of the guys. It's just kind of, a big part of my mission, because I just want to hang out like we do here, right? And so sharing the journey that I'm on is a really important part of my mission, because hopefully something I'm doing is actually going to be, rather than going, oh, I'm doing this. And I'm not saying that the guys that are famous are like that. Some are. But what I'm saying is that, it's the posture of what I want to be able to accomplish is just sharing the things that I'm doing that hopefully will help me become more successful at the craft that I'm working on doing. And in the process of that, I'm afforded some opportunities and learning experiences that hopefully will be beneficial to you. So this whole rig craft thing and working in the studio and getting, great results is a very important part of my journey right now. And I'm learning stuff every day. The other part of this is how do I kind of craft this stuff into videos that I can put up, which one is great content for social media. Two, brings people along on the journey, with the actual making of the album. They can hear what kind of how I'm approaching what I'm doing, breaking it down a little bit here and there, but also kind of how to kind of use the trade craft. That little thing where you again saw that I had. Was it on the rig? I think it was on the rig. Oh, that's good. Oh, look at that. Oh, okay. Well, it's the wrong rig, but the right cabinet up there. Kind of how I got that speaker cable wrapped in the handle there. All of my amps and cabinets, whenever I've got cabling going there, the USB cable, even the mic cables that are going. One of the other things that I tried, just to, as because everything is coming, the signal chain here, and that cabinet is not in line. Michael Hodge, what's going on? Thank you. I'm glad you like the shirt. Always, speaking of great guitar players, played with a bazillion famous folks, including Shaka Khan, and currently plays on the team at Lakewood Community Church and plays in front of a couple million people a week. And Michael can really play, by the way. Search Michael Hodge and Boss, and you'll see some of his fine finessing work in action. And he's also a dear friend. So how about that? So the thing about this particular signal chain on top of the Boogie, although you can't see it, is my Mesa Cab Clone IR that basically is allowing me to come out of the speaker out of the Boogie. So I've captured all the power amp stuff and not the Slave for a couple of reasons that I won't go into now. But in turn, that goes into the front of the Active X3. That spits it left and to right. That goes into the Power Stage 700 power amp. I've got the tone controls and the presence at high noon. And then the far right control there is the volume. I usually, in a live setting, take that up to about, if they have, the middle is 12 noon, about 1 o'clock. And that's nice and loud. 350 watts a side will get the job done. And then that goes into a pair of Mesa Boogie dual rec cabinets. And the thing about the cabling, I've always got the cables kind of going through the side of the handle, such that in case somebody, including myself, trips on the cable, you don't break the cable, you don't break the jack, and you don't tear it out of the back of what it's plugged into. A little bit of preventative medicine will go a long way. I also use some cable ties that I also will cable tie around that because they're attached to the cables, because I have now gone through getting all my stuff kind of stage ready, and all my cables are now getting these little cable ties, some that are a little bit different than others. These ones have my name on them, which is really cool. And I'm making it such that if that cable gets taut, it can't slip through. It actually kind of, this helps secure it in place as well. Which again, that tradecraft is really, or stagecraft, if you will, is very important for just making sure you get the most out of your gear. How would I describe my sound? Chris Alexander had that question. And by the way, Tony, you asked me, you sent through some questions last week about upper partials. I'm not 100% ready to answer that. I apologize that we're not there yet. But actually, I'm going to take a moment here before I talk about my tone. How would I describe it? Well, actually, I can do that. That's kind of a woody sound. But for this one, number 2 channel, it was number 1. Bloomy is one of the things. Singy. Brooding. And then this channel, I think of a certain part of the male anatomy. The thing that's neat about it, you can get very shreddy. Back up on the vine. There are also certain types of sounds I go for. I have to back off on the tone control there. It's about there. So that's kind of a thing I call the guitar harmonica. Dynamic. That's literally the press of 3 different buttons and some, just working with a guitar. I've never, ever, 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 ever had an amp that could begin to do that. Just nothing comes close. Hey, Rick, what's going on, my man? Great to see you. Good morning, my friend. Thank you for the kind words, Maestro. Hi, nice to see you, my friend. So, so that's kind of how I describe the rig, and the thing is that there's a certain number of things that I'm really wanting to do. The chord thing is going to be a really important part of for these shows, as well as I'm really trying not to use the compressor into the front end because I'm just like, if there's any way I can do it, but honestly, I'm kind of about to just get over myself. Awesome, Rick. Because, I meant earlier I mentioned the idea that Larry Mitchell has, probably in the world of sound design, would maybe, Jeff Beck, Neil Sean, Joe Satriani, and Steve Vai as kind of my other exclamation point people tone-wise. Larry Mitchell in tones and sound design, besides insane playing, he's just masterful. So, and there's compression in the other guy, Andy Timmons. So, it's very tempting to kind of want to wade into that end of the pond and kind of, elbow my way into that part of the conversation. But at the same time, I'm really conscious of the fact is like, what can I do with as little in the way of effects that kind of, allows me to just kind of go, what happens if I show up someplace and there's, for example, you can just see it right there. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get the Boogie folks to supply an amp for me while I'm on this little run of shows. And so that right there is a Mark 525. And I'm going to take that with me on the plane as a last recourse. Awesome, Rick. Because I can bring it on the plane. I'll find a cabinet in Nashville. I think it's got cab clone IR on the back if I have to go direct, but I'll find a cabinet. And and so then I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to do all those things with just 2 channels. And so getting back to this workshop, the fractal workshop, Larry is a master of working inside the box. I'm really loving, and again, this conversation I had with Justin from Kirk Hammett's Tech was they're loving the consistency. Every night, doesn't matter where you are, they plug in the fractals. Sounds perfect. Especially in a setting where everything is happening through the PA. And everything's happening through your in-ears. Consistency is everything. For me, one of the things that I'm going to be doing is moving forward when I'm playing live, this is going to be the choice I'm giving the sound guy. They're not going to be choosing where to place the microphone. They're not going to choose anything other than hopefully not EQing my sound going front of house unless there's some change that they feel overwhelmingly required to do. XLR out. This is coming off the feed going from the left and the right out of the power amp there. That's going to basically interrupt that signal. It's going to grab all the goodness. I will choose which dyne IR that I'm going to put in there. They will be the Mesa Boogie. Chances are it's just going to be the Mesa Boogie rectifier cabinet. It's going to sound great in here. And I will be fine with that. And then I think there's a couple little EQ tools that I think I can put on the preset on there. But it may be with this. I can only there we go. IR the clean preamp virtual. Yeah, so it as I recall will also give me the EQ without having to turn the preamp on. So I can add a little bit of different shaping. So Rika asked, was Neely using fractal on the night we played together? And I used the Mesa Boogie, yes, and I know that was a type of mess boogie. So yes, I was using the Boogie. Neely was playing, so she is a the M5 head rush. She's a head rush endorser. So she had this little cute little, the M5 is this great little modeler that's about that big that just, you can fit it literally in a purse, if you will. Although I don't frequently carry a purse, but when I do, I'm carrying an M5 in it, right? It's just like you could easily just kind of cruise around town with it and show them like, there you go. So, and she had a great sound, and it just worked great. I really, one of my big aha moments, actually my aha moment is it's 11 o'clock, and I have a lesson. So my big aha moment before I go and say thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you next week. And I also hope that some of you can join us in Florence. First of all, in Nashville on Friday, July 21st at the Underground. Saturday, July 22nd at Shoals Axe Fest in Florence, Alabama. And the 22nd at Warehouse 321 in Montgomery, Alabama. Because I have a lesson I need to go to, so let me just say this in closing. Seeing Petrucci play with all these other great players who are playing direct through the PA with their modelers and hearing how John's sound just filled the room, I was like, I'll have what he's having. Just kind of, it was just so painfully obvious in apples to apples, if you will, that it was apples and oranges in terms of what it was like in a room that's not a giant venue. I was just like, oh, it just was incredible. So Larry's going to be talking about in the box. I'm going to be talking about how to use it in the framework of a rig, but kind of some of the stuff that I do inside the box. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. I look forward to seeing you next Saturday. Make it a great one. Thanks again. What a lovely way to start my Saturday. Thank you for that. Cheers.